way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azalina, and I am joined by a guy who, if he was one of the options in the following question, I would take him. To save my life, I need one clean inning. Would I choose Chris Regensburg or Taijuan Walker? Regs, you'd be the answer, buddy.
You flatter me. I did it's so funny. Some dad bought one of the kids on my oldest son's baseball team a radar gun. So they brought it to practice. And then, of course, as dumb dads, we all, after practice is done, we all start throwing. And I hit 71. I was pretty impressed with myself.
That's really good, man.
Just no warm-up coming in.
Did you crow hop or was this the wind
No,
up?
it was just off. Yeah, just straight wind up.
Good for you, dude. That's fantastic.
I was impressed, and my arm is still here somehow. My all my ligaments didn't explode at the same time.
That's really impressive. I'm like,
Listen,
I wonder what I would do.
I'm
I wonder
pleased
what I would
that.
do.
Well, of course, I wondered the same thing, and then the competitive part of me is like, I better beat these guys. I'm not losing to these.
Did anybody
bastards.
throw harder than you?
No. Nope.
Proud of you, man.
I try and tell my kids your dad was an athlete way back when. He was an athlete way back when.
I'll tell them some stories.
God, I should have stuck with baseball. Why the hell did I think I could be a basketball player? What was I thinking?
I mean, you were.
What
fun.
was I thinking?
You were a fun basketball player. You beat the crap out of the guys.
Yeah, but like, God, I was pretty good at baseball up until about sophomore year of high school. And then I stopped practicing and guys learned how to throw curveballs, and that was it for Regz. That was it for Regz, riding the pine for the next 2 years.
The breaking ball is what did it to you, huh?
Oh my God, yeah. Plus not practicing. Like I would go from basketball being done, and usually basketball would end the week before baseball tryouts.
Okay.
So me and my brother would go on our street by our house. We would throw. We would not hit because we didn't go to a batting cage. We didn't do we would go out in the street. We would throw, and then we would show up at baseball tryouts.
I mean, that's the way you got to do it.
God, I love baseball though. God, I should have kept playing baseball. Oh well.
I might find my way back into it next year. I don't know. We'll see. Just find another team. Even if I play slow pitch softball again, just something to do.
Well, you played real baseball this year, didn't you?
Just for a couple games, and then I was kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
I wasn't really feeling it anymore, to be honest with you.
We just need to.
You got to have like the right group of people.
We need to live closer together is the problem.
I wish we did, because I would start a slow pitch softball team. I'd probably do co-ed. It's easier to do,
Yeah.
but like, is what it is. We do have a baseball team to talk about. We have a football team to talk about too. The baseball team.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Yep.
Right now it's 9-4 in the Mets game. They're still sort of threatening, but doesn't look great. So a couple things that I want to talk about the baseball team, and then we're gonna recap the whatever happened on Monday night with the Eagles. Look forward to New Orleans, but we're gonna start with the Phils. Big series in New York this weekend, and unfortunately, it's not off to a great start. Taijuan Walker got the ball tonight and did what
Taijuan Walker does.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, the Phillies have scored 4 runs tonight, which on most nights with the other 4 guys gives you a shot to win the baseball game, but not with Taijuan Walker. And I'm not nervous. They have to win 2 games this weekend to clinch the division, 1 game to clinch a playoff berth. My concern level is truly low.
Yeah,
I'm annoyed about tonight.
sure.
You know, they own the tiebreaker over the Brewers. They will, if they win one game this weekend, they own the tiebreaker over the Mets. So really what I'm already doing is like saying, just get me to October. Just get me to October. I'm kind of done with the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm frustrated by it. I'm annoyed by it. And I want to just talk about it. I don't want to talk about today. I don't want to talk about the next week, although Bryce Harper just hit a 2-run double and made it 9-6. They're not going away. And that's the problem that I have with freaking Taijuan Walker.
I know. I think it almost makes it worse that he just did that. Like, I mean, good. Bryce needed a hit, so I'm happy for him. And it's like we talked about. We were texting as this was happening. I think it's such a we have the best record in baseball thing to complain about. Like, just if we had. Just think if we only had like Aaron Nola as the only healthy pitcher, kind of like the Dodgers do.
Right.
You know, out of their like starting 5 that were supposed to start the season.
Right.
So I get it. We're talking about different types of problems, but we're not a national baseball podcast. We're a Philly sports podcast. So we're allowed to be hyper focused on these things. I think the biggest thing is that, and you tweeted this and I texted it to you, it's such a middle finger to the rest of these guys.
Yep.
Who are trying to play hard. And I'm not saying that Taijuan is doing this on purpose. Let's be clear about this.
I don't even blame the guy.
It's just he's cooked, man.
Yeah.
It was a terrible signing and he's just cooked. And you almost, when you think about it that way, you almost can't be like, you know me, I get pretty emotional during these baseball games. I have the tendency to do so. This one, I was just like, who am I getting mad at? Taijuan Walker? Who I think if I threw out my 10-year-old on the mound would get hit just as hard. It's like, what am I getting upset about? The guy's just done. He's just not a major league pitcher anymore. He's just not. Does it suck that we're paying him a lot of money? Yes, it does. Are they gonna go into the offseason hoping he can turn it around? Yes, because they don't want to eat $30 million.
$36 million.
And also because it would be like the second most DFA'd money owed in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
Like John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski don't want to be associated with that. So yes, they're going to give him the offseason to try and figure it out again. The good thing about next season is that hopefully Andrew Painter is here.
Yes. Yes.
So like,
even if
there's some
part of the
season. There's some light at the end of the tunnel for next season. It's just such a bummer when the guys are clearly trying and they're just like, and Taijuan just had a bulldozer digging him a hole. You know what I mean? Like 6 runs. Like you said, if it's any other pitcher of ours on the mound, this is a win.
And so I think that's the important thing that I'm taking away from tonight. Like the Mets can look at tonight and be like, oh, well, we won the game. The way they're celebrating.
Oh my God. They're such tools. This whole team.
But truly in the back of their minds, they're like, oh, well, if that's Zach Wheeler, we lose this game.
Yeah. Or Christopher Sanchez.
That's Christopher Sanchez. We lose this game.
Yep.
Like they're winning this game because they beat up, which they should do, and I'm not going to take that away from them. They beat up on a bad pitcher. Kudos to them.
Yep.
But they've beaten the Phillies 4 times this year after tonight. 3 of those were Taijuan Walker starts.
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it?
So
it's also you gave up 6 runs to a team that didn't get to the hotel till 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Their pitcher gave up 3 home runs in 4 innings.
Yep.
And 7 runs. And you still let them score 6 runs.
Yeah.
And the only reason they're losing this game is because of that guy.
And I feel badly for Ruiz, who was rushed to get up and warm up.
He's been pitching so well.
And he comes in the game and you clearly didn't have his stuff
No,
because
I
he
just-
just didn't have the appropriate time to warm
I
up.
just hope this doesn't make him lose his confidence.
No, and I think Topper will get him back in and in another
No,
spot
yeah,
where,
I agree. I just
I
he's been pitching really well.
I like this spot for Alvarado because again, like you're probably not winning this
He
game.
needs a little bit of a bounce back after.
But he had a rough start. He had a rough outing against
Yeah.
the Brewers, and you're at the bottom of the order here. So like this is the type of spot where I picture Jose Alvarado in the postseason.
Yeah.
So maybe not losing by 3, but like up 2 or 3 in the 7th with the bottom of the order. You've used a bunch of other guys, but he'll have a short leash.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. So let's talk about the postseason then. Like I don't want to have the conversation about specifically one piece. I want to hear what you feel really good about going into the postseason, and this could be a position group. It could be specific guy or two, and what has you nervous going into the postseason. I mean, I'll start. I'll start with the good. Let you do. You can do good or nervous, whichever, and we'll just alternate a little. For me on the good side, I'm gonna go. It's sort of twofold. I feel really, really confident in 5 guys in that bullpen, and I'm gonna add. It's not the same thing, but I'm gonna add Zach Wheeler to that. I don't think so. In my mind, in my lifetime, it's been Roy Halladay, a big gap, and then like Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee. Like that's sort of when I think of pitchers in my lifetime. Kurt Schilling was very good too, but
Yeah.
in terms of winning teams, Zach Wheeler is now right behind Roy Halladay in that conversation, and he's breathing down his neck. So I feel really good about him, and this bullpen to me, come October, Strahm, Hoffman, Orion Kirkring is out of control good right now.
Yeah.
And Estevez, I know what happened last night. Weird situation, but I still feel pretty good there. So I feel good about those 4. Right now, Alvarado doesn't look great. Again, he's like back to some of the other stuff. And I want to say this, I've said it on the show before. I still think there's a chance that we see some Ranger bullpen stuff in the postseason.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about those 2 things. And I'm going to leave it. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, the bullpen was my first choice. If you had to ask me what I feel good about, it's Wheeler, Nola, Christopher Sanchez. I think Nola had a really big bounce back start against the Brewers. I know we didn't win the game. We probably should have, but he pitched really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even going into a 5-game series, obviously you feel great. Even a 7-game series, to have 3 pitchers who should be able to get you 6 innings, 3 runs, max.
Yeah.
You would expect at this point.
Yeah.
Is like an unbelievable spot to be. Like if you look around at the rest of the NL, like who are the starters for these teams? Like the Brewers have a great bullpen. Their starters are like nobodies.
Yeah, but they develop starters really
I get
well.
it. I'm not saying they can't pitch. I'm not talking about that. I get it.
Yeah.
Like Arizona's pitching has been tough, has been rough since they were like their bats, finally cooled down.
Right.
The Mets, again, there's no start. Like it's not Jacob deGrom coming out of there or Max Scherzer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I really do think we have like an unreal top 3. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have one of the better ones probably in all of baseball.
Right.
Did he just hit a home run, Acuna?
I did something.
Something that
Triple.
scored the guy. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I I don't know how they're going to depend on Alvarado in the postseason.
I don't think they can. He's
Yeah.
I don't think they can. He's down there with
Yeah.
Tanner.
Yeah, it's something.
He had 3 really good spots, and then now it's just for whatever reason it's going again. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, they have a couple weeks to try and another week to try and figure it out and let him go out there and hopefully build some confidence. But as of now, he's not part of the conversation.
Yeah.
All right. So for the nervous side of things, and this is I'm such a Topper guy, but I don't know how he's going to manage like the bottom of the order in the center field situation. I'm really nervous about Brandon Marsh playing center field in the postseason. But I'm nervous about Yohan Rojas hitting 9th. So like I'm struggling here. Like I think at home I'm good with Brandon Marsh playing center field.
Yes.
And Austin Hayes playing left field.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that. But some of these other stadiums that are so big.
Yeah.
I want Yohan Rojas out there. But man, that offense scares me. Although he's been better, that's got to be the triumvirate. There can't be any Cal Stevenson, which I don't think there's going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the whole offense. I know you're going to talk about that here in a second. I know that's going to be your thing. But it is that idea of like who's going to be playing center field? How are we making that decision? Marsh has been swinging the bat much better recently against left-handed pitching. So I want him in the lineup, but at what expense? That's where I'm struggling. That's where I'm struggling.
I mean, I'm completely with you. I think at home we feel much better about Brandon Marsh in center field. Like if we're in Arizona or Milwaukee, even, yeah.
God, yeah.
Atlanta, like those places that are just these monster outfields.
Like cities even huge.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I want the defense. I think luckily there's been some positive reports on Hayes that he's starting to feel like himself again. And I think he went through like a full workout this morning and finally is starting to like feel like himself again. And by all accounts, the kidney infection has been cleared, which is great news just for him as a person. That's been cleared up. I just at CBP, okay, I get it. Marsh and Hayes, cool. I think in those bigger ballparks, you just have to. Like, no offense to Cal Stevenson, but I watched every hard ground ball get past him in the outfield.
That's what was crazy.
Like, he didn't cut off a single ball.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I get it, but like, you know who does cut that off? Yohan Rojas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like those balls don't get to the wall with him.
Right.
And if it saves you 3 bases in a game, it's worth it. Like it just is. So I'm completely with you.
And you're most nervous about?
Yeah, the strikeouts. I get it. They've won 4 out of 5 games where they've struck out 16 times or more. Can we just not strike out 16 times, please?
Yeah.
Like we saw it in that one Milwaukee game. Like Schwarber hit one off somebody's foot and it scored an insurance run. Like I get it. I'm not asking you to like have a double every time you come up, but you gotta just put the ball somewhere.
Yeah.
Just hit it hard anywhere. Like sometimes weird shit happens.
Yeah.
The strike, like tonight, Trey Turner watches the same sweeper and swings at the first one, fouls off the second one, and then swings and misses at the third one. What were you thinking was going to happen? Like, can you not pick up spin on a baseball? Like, what pitch did you think they were going to throw you? It's just like they come up and they just seem to not. I don't know. In the past couple games, it's very much seemed like those top 3 guys, like we've never gotten to the 4th guy, I think in 2 weeks in the top of the first, whenever we've come up in the first inning, I don't think we've gotten to Bomer Castellanos one time in the past 2 weeks.
They did tonight.
No, they struck out. It was 1, 2, 3 tonight.
Harper walked.
Oh shit, that's right. He did. Okay. I said, all right, one time in 2 weeks. Fine.
I think
Fine.
it's been more than once, but I get your
Doesn't
point.
seem like it. Every
Yeah.
time I turn it on, it just seems like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. They're scoring runs. I get it. I just like, you can't strike out 16 times in the playoffs. You can't do it. You can't do it.
So, okay, I'm gonna say some things that I know people out there are going to very much enthusiastically disagree with. But I believed it for a long time. Unless, in my head, in my opinion, unless there is a runner on third with less than 2 outs, or a runner on second with nobody out, to me, a strikeout's another out. So I'm going to talk about those last 2 games specifically. Out of the 16 strikeouts in the first game this week, 7 of them came with runners in scoring position. Okay. I'm sorry, 7. I apologize. 5 of them came with runners in scoring position. All right. 7 came with just runners on base, period.
Yeah.
2 of the 5 with runners in scoring position were Cal Stevenson and Weston Wilson, who probably aren't even going to be on the playoff roster.
Yeah.
Game 2, 5 of the 16 strikeouts came with runners on base. 3 of those were with runners in scoring position. The only one that bothered me out of those 3 was first and second, nobody out. Nick Castellanos struck out. If he puts a ball in play there, Alec Boehm's fly ball is a sac fly. They take a 2-1 lead.
Right.
That one bothers me. That strikeout ticks me off. He needs to get a ball in play there. None of these strikeouts, not a single one of the 32, happened with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. So I hear you, and I hear people when they say, put a ball in play, you never know. Look, the guys standing on the other side of the diamond, also major leaguers. That ground ball off the leg happens one every 20 games.
You're right. I get that. I'm just talking about, it's at this point, it's like a psychological thing. Like, we can't keep having 3 hits in the 6th inning. I get it. The strikeouts didn't happen with guys in scoring position. Okay. But we went 6 innings and we got 3 hits. I know sometimes you tip your cap to the pitcher, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. It's just, there's a different feeling when at least you're putting the bat on the ball and getting out than just seeing every guy just let's walk back to the dugout because I didn't even have to bother getting out of the batter's box. I just think I agree with you. I agree with you situationally. I agree with you that it's just another out. I think it's different in the playoffs. It's different in the playoffs. So if you're asking me, my concern, everything is dialed up to 11 in the playoffs. That means strikeouts are that much more demoralizing and they're that much more important to the other team. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about in a random game against the Royals, in August. Whatever. But it's a trend that is happening more and more. And I don't like it in the situations we're going to be in the playoffs.
I won't disagree with that. I can fully get on board with. I do believe, I said it tonight in the first inning when all 3 strikeouts came on pitches out of the zone.
Yeah.
The Phillies will, for their Achilles heel right now specifically, 2 things are happening. One, they're either taking pitches that are very hittable or they're fouling pitches off that are very hittable.
Yeah.
And then they're chasing balls out of the zone. come playoff time, this is the only thing that's going to beat them is their own aggressiveness. Pitchers are going to try and copy the Arizona Diamondback game 6 and 7 approach.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to do. And it's going to be on this team to counter that and find a way to put together good at bats, at least string enough together that they can put up 2 crooked numbers a game,
Yeah.
like a 2-run inning and a 3-run inning. That with this pitching should be enough.
Yeah.
And if that comes with 14 strikeouts, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They need to have 2 good innings, 2 crooked numbers a night, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 crooked numbers for the Phillies wins the game, unless it's Taijuan Walker,
Oh, yeah.
in which case it doesn't. But it's not going to be. So I hear you. I just, to me, I don't worry as much about strikeouts unless they're situational. Then it really like I can think back to last year in game 7 when Stott hit the double, got to third with 1 out. They had a chance to take the lead, and Rojas came up. Was it Rojas or Castellanos? It might have been Castellanos, actually. I can't remember who came
Oh
up.
God, I can't remember either.
Actually, it was Castellanos, then Rojas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Castellanos came up and struck out and swung it like 3
Yeah.
pitches down and away.
Right.
And they didn't get any runs that inning. And I immediately said to Andrea, the Diamondbacks are going to score and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's only the 4th inning. And I was like, this is how baseball games, this is how they're lost.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't make contact in that spot and the other team gets out of the inning free, the momentum is all theirs. And the Diamondbacks came out and scored immediately. And that was it. That's all they needed. That was the game. So yes, situationally, it drives me nuts. But if they score 5 runs and strike out 14 times in the postseason, I don't give a shit. I don't care. So we'll see. It'll be a fun thing to follow. Let's jump to possibilities in the postseason, because there are a few situations, and we're not going into if they're the 1 seed, if they're the 2 seed. We're just going to talk specifically about teams.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do real quickly, because this matters, we are in the bottom of the 8th in Milwaukee, Diamondbacks 5, Brewers 1. That is huge.
Yeah.
That is absolutely huge for the Phillies tonight. All right. Let's pull up the standings. Okay. Even after the Phillies lose this game, which they're going to do, they will essentially be in first place in all of baseball. All right. They'll be tied, but they own the tiebreaker.
Right.
The Milwaukee Brewers are currently sitting in 3rd behind the Dodgers. And then it goes San Diego. I think the Mets are actually ahead of Arizona right now. I think it's Mets. On my standings, it shows Arizona Mets. But on the bracket they showed tonight on Fox, it was San Diego and the Mets playing in the first round. I think that's what it is.
Let me see.
Okay. And then we're still going to count the Braves into this, because the Braves are not out of this by any means. The Mets have a very difficult last week. Their last week is not easy. They have 3 more with us after tonight that Taijuan Walker doesn't start. Then they have to play Atlanta and play Milwaukee. So they're not guaranteed to get in right now.
Right.
They could fall out. So what I'd like to do is just talk through the teams that you're nervous about seeing versus the teams that you'd welcome seeing. Okay? And look, it's not they're all good teams. I want to be very clear. There's some good teams. But clearly, like, the chips will fall as they may.
Yeah.
But as a fan looking from the outside in, for me, I'm going to tell you right now, the team that I fear the most is the San Diego Padres. They are built to win in October.
Yeah.
I mean, that rotation is really, really good. That bullpen,
Yeah, the bullpen's
the
ridiculous.
moves they made at the deadline, add that to the Suarez cat.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Manny Machado's playing the best ball he's played in a long time.
Luis Arraez has struck out 3 times since the All-Star
Like-
break.
Like in 3 months. Yes. Fernando Tatis is back.
Yeah.
You know, Cronenworth, it never really scares me, but he still exists. They have that really talented rookie. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh, Jackson Merrill.
Thank you. That team.
I mean, they still have Devers, like
That's not that is no, not Devers.
not Devers. Shoot.
What position are you thinking of?
The shortstop that came from Boston.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is so bad. I can't.
Oh
think of
my
his
God,
name.
this is really bad.
I'm pulling him up. Don't worry. It's gonna just give me a second. Bogarts.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, look, Jerks and Profar's hitting like 300.
And that
then
guy kills the Phillies. That
Yeah.
guy just I don't understand it. He's like Josh Bell. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really good lineup.
Yeah.
Like, and today, or was it today or yesterday? It must have been yesterday. Yeah. Cease went 8 1/3, and then they brought Tanner Scott in for the.
Yeah.
They have Tanner
Yeah,
Scott.
right.
Like
Yeah.
this team terrifies me.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm thinking of this the right way, they would play in my head. They play the Mets, and that's the winner of the 1 seed.
The last bracket I saw had them playing Arizona. But I'm sure that's changed. Like you said, in the past little while.
I thought I saw that on Fox tonight.
That was a couple days ago, so don't mind me. But
the
yeah,
1
continue.
seed
Right.
plays the winner of that series.
Yeah.
Whether it's San Diego, Arizona, or San Diego and the Mets.
Yeah.
Man, that San Diego team is, whoo. I don't know, man.
I'm with you. I think
Scary.
Rationally, the Padres make complete sense, and I completely agree. From an emotional standpoint, I don't want to play the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't want anything to do with that hellhole of a stadium.
Yeah, and Josh Bell.
I don't anything to do with Josh Bell and Corbin Carroll and Marte and Jock Peterson and all these bastards who I just know they're not afraid of the Phillies.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not afraid of the Phillies.
Yeah.
And from like logically, your pick should be number 1. I completely agree with you. Just from a pure like talent standpoint, the Padres are terrifying.
Yeah. I agree with that. They are.
From an emotional standpoint, I don't want to see the Diamondbacks ever again. Ever.
No,
ever again.
I know. From a team that, like, if I had to choose a team, because again, they all scare me for different reasons. They all have something.
Yep.
I think I'd prefer the Mets.
That was my first choice as well.
Like,
it's a bunch of losers.
I don't.
This team
they've played like no one in the second half. What people were saying about us in the beginning of the year is what they beat us in the Aaron Nola start.
Yeah.
He just melted down for whatever reason. Well, September Nola. That's what this is. But and then the next 2 days we just took their hearts out of their chests.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens the rest of this weekend. But like, who's starting game 1 for them? Jose Quintana? Like,
Yeah, right.
but probably not, because he's gonna have to pitch in the wild
The
card
wild
round.
card, right?
So, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
They don't scare me. I think, I'd
especially
also
with
say,
especially with no Lindor.
yeah, if he can't play, yeah, and if he does, he's still not going to be.
Yeah, he's not going to be 100%.
I'm also crazy to say, the Brewers scare me. They're like dead in the middle, but I also wouldn't mind them. Like, I still think in a 5-game series, we're better than the Brewers.
Yes.
Especially like them having to come and play at Citizens Bank the first 2 games, like a raucous Citizens Bank.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to deal there. It's
the Mets are a bunch of frauds. Like, they're going to collapse in the playoffs. Like, this is what's going to happen. It's not going to be this Cinderella story. They're a bunch of losers.
So you think so if it is Brewers Mets, you think the Brewers come out of it? Because the Brewers, that's who I'm talking about. I don't know that they come into Philly and actually.
Absolutely, I think the Brewers come out of that. Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
I think I'm with you. I think if I had to choose someone, I think the Brewers are the next choice. It's not the Braves only for Sale and Morton.
Yeah,
or not Morton. Is Morton right? Morton's the lefty. No, Morton's the righty.
No,
what's his
Fried.
name? Thank you, Fried. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And I don't know if what's his name's healthy? The Lopez.
And Matt Olson scares the absolute shit out of me.
Yeah, I look, pitching wise, they're terrifying.
That's really why they're third for me. Like, if you're just talking from a starter standpoint, I'm not scared of the Brewers and Mets starters.
Yeah, the Brewers starters, they get me a little bit. They're not. I think we can get to them. But yeah, I agree with you on those 2 fronts. The Brave stars terrify me. The Padres starters terrify me.
Yes.
The Dodgers starters don't.
Yeah. Arizona's pitching doesn't terrify me. Their lineup terrifies me.
Yeah, because they torture us.
Yeah. Exactly.
And somehow Fott will become Cy Young again. He's been brutal this year.
No, yeah. We'll have 2 hits. Yeah, we'll have 2 hits.
So look, we're gonna keep a close eye on things over the course of the weekend here. It's definitely, the Phillies just need to win. If they win tomorrow, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then they just got to win one more game this weekend. It was always about splitting.
Yeah.
It was always, I think I said to you earlier in the week, I'm good with a 3-4 road trip. Get everybody home healthy, come home with the division, and let's move on.
And
like,
I think the sheer fact that this is 10-6 is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like, even what did they lose? 11-1?
Yeah.
On that Friday night with Nola?
Yeah.
Like, this is not that.
No. If Walker comes out in the 4th inning and gets 3 outs against the bottom of the order,
yeah, we win.
The Phillies are going to win this game.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go to their bullpen.
And their bullpen's not good.
No, I'm saying the Phillies are going to go to their bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
In the 5th, they're gonna stem it together for 5 innings out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to get 2 out of Ruiz.
Yeah.
You go to Strami, you go to Hoffman, you go to Estevez, you win 6-2.
Yeah.
Like 6, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or 6-4, whatever it is.
6-4, yeah.
Just an absolute
and
meltdown.
I bet they score more runs if that's the case.
Yeah, probably. Well, hopefully they come out tomorrow and do their thing. I clearly the Mets are going to feel really good about themselves coming out of this one. Good for them. Yeah. Good for them. The lead will be down to 6 after 2. We don't love that, but again, it's the mindset of like, win 2 games. And it doesn't matter what your division league. Just win 2 games.
Yeah.
That's it. So we'll see what happens there. You ready to talk about the other team?
Yeah, why not?
Are you sure?
I mean, no, but we got to.
Man, Monday was tough. Monday was tough. We'll start at the end and work our way back. I'm gonna do. I want your thoughts here in a moment, and then I'm gonna do what I did last week, which was simply just ask you for, if there's anybody specifically that you want information on from the tape. But when they were down inside the 10, they were on the 6 on 3rd and 3 or the 7, wherever they were. And that ball, Saquon dropped that ball. You texted me, this can't be happening, can it?
Yeah.
And my immediate response to you was, it can. I don't know that I fully believed it could. Like, I think part of me was like, they're going to win. And then they didn't. And then all of the reasons why started to like just spin in my head. All of the reasons why. And it was one of those losses, Regz, that you just cannot get out of your brain.
Yeah. Because it's the worst case scenario.
Well,
it's
also Regz, and then thought, and then it's all you. It's where what I wanted to say was like, yes, worst case scenario, and it was last year all over again.
Well, yeah.
It was like nothing has changed. We went from the Brazil game where it was like, oh my gosh, they lose this game every time last year, to the total opposite feeling where I was sitting there, holy crap, they made the stop on 4th and 1. They're going to run the clock out. They're going to get the first down. We're going to be able to say they gritted out another win they would have lost last year. And they didn't do it. And I'm not going to blame Saquon Barkley, who makes that catch 96 out of times. I'm not going to. He has to catch it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But he only gets 5% of my blame for what happened. We're going to talk more about that. Your initial reaction and thoughts.
I mean, I just think it was. I think when you were just talking about how it's the same as last year, I'm not sure that's true. In this sense, I'm not sure it's true in the sense that last year was due to a complete lack of effort. Those last 6 games, like, it was just a complete lack of effort from everyone involved. This was like, can all of the worst possible things happen at the same time? Like, we'll get into the decision, on the play and all these things about what we think about it.
We sure will.
It went from, like you said, Saquon Barkley dropping a ball he catches 99 out of 100 times. That then leads to Quinyon Mitchell, who's been fantastic for 7 quarters, 7 3/4 quarters, completely turns into a rookie and just absolutely botches 2 straight plays. Like, literally. And he's admitted this, so it's not like we're saying this, He completely botches 2 plays, which allow the Falcons to get down the field. And again, we'll talk about how the D-line makes a difference in that. Like, it's not all on Quinyon, but, like, he effed up, like, badly, and allowed those plays to happen. And then it's Slay getting caught with his eyes in the backfield. Slay has been very good, again, for 7 3, like, 5/6 of a quarter. Like, all that happened in 1 minute and 40 seconds. And again, we'll get into, should they have had that much time left, all those things. We'll get into that. I didn't see this as a lack of effort. Like, this was not last year when, like, guys are just when offenses are doing whatever they want and guys are looking at each other like, you were supposed to be there and you were supposed to be there, and like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be. That was not what this looked like.
No.
This was individual failure, not like a systemic, like, again, we'll get into some other things that are a problem. There are definitely some things this team needs to clean up, and quickly, if they want to be a decent football team. Like, that was just the coming together of the war, like all the bad shit that could happen at one time in a minute and 40 seconds. I didn't get the sense that like they're out there not knowing where they should be, or they're out there just like with no clue what to do. And maybe we can use this as a transition into the decision that happened. I'm in the camp of, yes, they made a call to throw the ball on third down. The play worked. And he dropped the ball. I am also in the camp of, if you're going to do that, you might as well go for it on fourth down. I'd like to make that clear. If you're going to do that, still go for it. Run 40 seconds off the clock. Make them go 90 yards. You know, or you still need a field goal. So make them go, let's call it 60 yards or 50 yards to try and get a field goal. And I do agree that I think they call less aggressive plays if they're just trying to get a field goal, which I think makes a difference. Your defense is less passive, all these things. I completely agree with that side of it. Like, the scheme and the play worked. I get it, they didn't do it, so you can't really say the play, worked completely. You had a wide open running back. Jalen made a perfect throw. He dropped the ball. He didn't catch it. I disagree with kicking the field goal. I think they should go for it. You run the ball, you try and get 3 yards, make them get into field goal range and make a field goal, and you go into overtime. I just didn't see this as a complete systematic failure of the entire team, which is what the last 7 games or 6 games of last year felt like, or were. Not felt like, that's what they were. Yeah. So that's why I think it's a little different than last year. It is not to say that this team doesn't have some shit they have to work on and quick, because that is certainly still the case, but it is not a systemic like coaching and effort failure, in my opinion.
Yeah, from a coordinator perspective, I agree. I don't agree from the head coach perspective, and I'll talk about that later. So let me start with the play, and then I'll ask you if there's anybody specific that you want thoughts on from like a film lens. The play in question. I agree wholeheartedly about fourth down. Here's where I disagree. That's not my third down play. It's not my third down play. My third down play is not play action, bootleg, throw. To me, there's still so much risk there. And so much can go wrong on that play. So much. And worst case scenario actually happened.
Sure.
The third down play in my head with the way and I am not like a run the ball, run it all the time. That is not my mindset. It's not. But your offensive line is dominating. Saquon Barkley is getting 3 yards by accident the whole game.
God, it's still really fun to watch him on this team, isn't it?
For sure. Give him the ball on third down. Give him the ball. So here's why, though. Here's why. And they tried to give him the ball, but they tried to give him the ball very differently than what it was. And I understand it was open and I understand it was in his hands. I get it, but he didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And we can say hindsight and we wouldn't be talking about it, but we are, which means it failed.
Yes.
And you know what doesn't fail in that spot? Handing him the ball
Yeah.
and letting him either, oh, there's 3 guys in the backfield. Okay, fine. 2-yard loss. It's 4th and 5. But guess when you're running the 4th and 5 play?
with a minute left.
With 1 minute left. And then you go for it when the clock doesn't matter. The clock doesn't matter now. So now you can throw, like, say that you gain nothing. Say it's just a dead.
Yeah.
He just gets pocked at the line. That's it. It's 4th and 3. Now you run the bootleg. That's when you run it. But, and I'm going to talk about this later. Clearly, there was never any intent to go for it on 4th down.
Yes. I think you call that play because you know you're not going for it.
And
you're calling it a down early because
Yes.
you know you don't have 4th down. I completely agree with that. Yep.
Now, if you get the 1st down, awesome. And say Saquon gains 2 and it's 4th and 1, then guess what you do?
Yeah.
The brotherly shove and the game's over. Maybe Saquon gets 3 and the game's over. But if they fail, then the Falcons get the ball with 55 seconds, no timeouts, and to score a touchdown, have to go 95 yards. To kick a field goal, 50, 55 yards probably.
Yeah.
And they're going to play more conservatively because they only need 3.
Mm-hmm.
A 50% chance to win the game is a lot better than a 90% chance to lose it. The play call, being that they knew they weren't going for it on 4th down, was totally fine. It was.
Yeah.
But they should have gone into that situation going for it on 4th down. I'm going to talk about that later. So I just wish they would have, because a lot of people have said to me, well, they went 70 yards in 50 seconds. Sure. They absolutely did. I don't dispute that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But they weren't gonna go 50 or 70 yards. They had to go 95 yards if you don't get it. And if they're also not gonna go for it on 4th down once they get into your territory.
Yeah. I think the biggest things that have kind of been epiphanies for me in listening to a bunch of stuff and reading a bunch of stuff is the time that they would have had, obviously, is a huge deal. Where they're starting from, like starting from your own 7-yard line, like, is a lot different than starting from the 35.
Right.
And I think the other thing that a lot of people have brought up, which I think makes perfect sense, is you're not being as aggressive when you just need 3 points.
Right.
Like you're not taking the shots down the field because you're not trying to give up trying to get 3 points. You're not calling that same type of defense because you're just not, so.
And my other thing about that, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself, so this will be it. And then ask me tell me who you want to hear about. You have this whole new kickoff thing. Why are you giving them the ball at the 30?
Right. Kick it to the 10 and just see what happens.
Kick it inside the 10 like you did to the Packers.
Right.
And they got to like the 14.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you use that.
Yeah.
Don't just hand them the ball at the 30.
Right.
Why?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
The whole thing was Jesus. Okay. Anybody that you want to hear about before I talk about my 3 main takeaways?
I mean, it just seemed like, and you can give your opinion, it just seemed like Jalen Carter just got beat by that guard, who's a very good guard.
He's one of the best. He's like a top 3 guard in the NFL.
He just lost the day. Like they left him on an island, and the dude just won almost every rep. Yeah.
It's very true. Jalen got. There were still some double teams. I didn't do a count. They still double teamed him enough. But yeah, Lindstrom's one of the best guards in football. you're still dealing with a second-year tackle. I think Lindstrom's like a fifth-year veteran.
Yeah.
So he's still going to lose some of these. And I think when you're leaning on your second-year tackle to be your best player, we're seeing, exactly what we always talk about, which is defensive tackles they take a little more time.
Yeah, unless you're Aaron Donald.
Unless you're Aaron Donald, who I don't know what he looked like his second year. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, Lindstrom's
All right, so let's pick somebody who I haven't heard a ton about. What did you think of Nakobe?
So much of what Nakobe does was flatlined in this game the same way Zach Bond was. They tried a couple of times, especially on the last 2 different times. They tried to send Nakobe on a blitz and drop Huff into coverage because Huff couldn't get to the passer.
Yeah.
And he just got stonewalled. Nakobe was fine for the most part. When they stretched, they mainly stretched to Bond's side. I think they took advantage of his inexperience on those stretch plays.
Right.
Because they mainly stretched to his side and Dean was kind of chasing backside because he's chasing his own gap. So he didn't really hurt them, didn't really help them. He was sort of an anomaly in this game. Like, he was away from the ball a lot.
Yeah.
He wasn't around the ball a lot. So he had the assist on the 4th and 1 tackle when CJ stood him up in the hole. Nakobe was the first one there to finish the tackle. But he didn't help, he didn't hurt. I think he was the second-rated defensive player on the team this week. He had like a 71 overall grade. So just wasn't around the ball a lot. It's almost like they schemed him not to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think just overall, and maybe, so the next question I know a lot of people are talking about is, why wasn't Goddard targeted more?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing. It was a weird offensive plan because Goddard was used a lot as like a dummy route.
Yeah.
Like he at no point was involved in the progression. He was basically running a straight line or some version of a fade that like he wasn't even in the progression.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were using him as a decoy to eat up what's his name, the safety,
Bates.
Bates. Yeah, I don't know if they were using him as like a decoy to eat him up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but he still has juice. Like, this dude's he's not cooked.
Yeah.
Like that catch at the end of the game, he like, that was a great catch, a great finish to a catch.
Mm-hmm.
He's not cooked. Like, he needs to, without AJ, and it looks like we're gonna be without AJ again this week.
Yeah, he's got to be really involved.
They gotta involve him, and he wasn't. Like, those screens they were running to Covey, those are typically made for Dallas, and they weren't using him in that way. So I was confused by that.
Yeah.
The 2 screens to Covey that worked were where they got called back on ineligible downfield.
Still the dumbest penalty. No one's explained to me why a lineman can. I understand. Listen, I understand from this aspect of, like, you can't have a lineman blocking a linebacker when they're trying to guard someone on a pass play.
Yeah.
Like, but that has nothing to do with what was happening on any of those plays.
No. If he's just standing there in space by himself, it's really confusing.
Like, have some discretion. Does this affect the play whatsoever?
I also don't think they're going to be calling it as much in like 2 weeks. I think it's like a huge thing at the beginning. Disappears.
Yeah.
So one thing about Quinyon, kind of 2 things about Quinyon. The near pick 6 early in the game just shows how special he's going to be.
Yeah.
His instincts, his jump on the football. The 2 plays at the end. The first one, he just needs to sink back.
Right. He gets caught looking at the underneath route.
And who gives a shit if they
Right.
throw
Well, I
underneath
think
the
exactly.
Bijan?
Yeah. Right.
Like, if you drop that ball underneath the Bijan, he's going to step out of bounds after like 10, 12 yards
Right.
because he's not going to cut it back to middle of the field and lose
Yeah.
another 10 seconds.
Exactly.
So all you got to do is run at him, step out of bounds.
Mhm.
Like, give them that route all day long.
Yeah.
You can't have the one, and he'll learn that.
Yeah.
It's just, I think he thought
He had two really tough rookie moments, like back to
that
back.
I think that he thought that Cousins was going to check it down. I think he wanted to jump it.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to jump it, and he got caught with his eyes. I think Cousins sucked him down
Mm-hmm.
and used that. And I'll tell you what, the second play, that was technique, and he does not get caught on technique. I think he was still in his head from the first play.
Yeah.
Because you said it, 7 quarters. This dude was dominant on the outside. And then all of a sudden he gets caught on technique.
Yeah.
He was still stuck in his feels from the play before.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And the Darius Slay thing, he said it after the game. He was accountable for it. His eyes got,
Yeah.
he was looking into the backfield and he bit on a route that route wasn't, I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a route that Darius Slay ever bites on.
Right.
It was weird. It was almost like the defense thought the game was over and then came out.
Oh yeah. They
Play
weren't ready to.
defense.
They weren't ready to come back out and play defense.
No. One more thing, and then I'm going to give you my takeaway. First thing, or the last thing here. There was also a play that I think goes untalked about from earlier in the game. And it was a Jesse Bates influence play. They had to settle for a field goal because Devontae dropped the ball in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't the best throw. It was a 0 blitz though.
Yeah.
So he had to get rid of it. And it's a catch that I feel like Devontae makes.
Yeah. He doesn't
Again,
drop. He doesn't drop many.
99 out of 100 times. Credit Jesse Bates though.
Yeah. He made a really good play. Yeah.
But that's a touchdown if he catches it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Yeah, you'd like to see Jalen put it out a little further, but again, it was 0 blitz. He had to get the ball off.
Yeah.
And that's what we've complained about Jalen for. It was an accurate throw. It was right on him.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a little further out, it's probably a touchdown, but I'm sure Devontae would tell you.
Yeah.
Real quick, 3 takeaways. And then if there's anything else you want to talk about, I'm happy to do that. First takeaway, and it's a positive one. I'm gonna give a positive one. I'm gonna kind of sandwich positive, negative, and then positive and negative. The main positive is this offensive line.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a beat, man.
Yeah.
I get the penalties. Like we want to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get angry about them. I just think it's tough. It's hard to do. There were a couple of twists that I think there were 3, and 2 of them were Becton and Lane not. And I think that's going to take time.
Yeah.
They haven't played enough together, and
It's also
they got caught up.
learning to play guard. Like that's a different look on that play than he's ever experienced before.
But on the run, like from the run game perspective, they're just moving people.
Oh yeah.
They're just moving people, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So, truly like impressive stuff from the offensive line.
Yeah.
The negative, and everybody's been talking about it. I don't think it's a secret. This pass rush
Oh
is
my God.
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Now
it doesn't exist. Like it doesn't exist.
The conversation to be had is they're not good at either thing. They're not good at stopping the run. They're not good at rushing the passer. Doesn't leave anything to be good at.
Right.
Couple of ways to solve this, and I trust Vic Fangio. He's a veteran defensive coordinator. He's gonna try things. He tried all kinds of things on the left. He tried 4-man rush. He tried twist. He tried dropping and blitzing. Like he also tried blitzing earlier in the game, and CJ got cut again looking in the backfield.
Yeah.
So he's not trying things. And that's where I agree with you on the defensive or in the coordinator perspective. Couple of things they can do to counter both the pass rush and the rush defense. From the rush defense, they need to just go 5-man front. They were really effective in the second half in the 5-man front. There were not as many busted run plays when they went 5-man front. So they might just have to, on obvious rush downs, go 5-man front.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. The other thing they can do, and I said this to you before we started recording, let Cooper DeJean play the slot.
Yeah.
If he is ready, healthy, on rundowns, let him play the slot. Just let him be in there because he loves to play downhill. So let him play downhill.
Yeah.
From a pass rush perspective, I wonder if they'd consider using Bourne as a natural pass rusher, which was his position in New Orleans, and starting Devin White, not starting, but using him in those pass rush downs, because you can also blitz him. He's very good at getting after. That's one thought. Another is Jalix Hunt was active this week.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering now, this week he was special teams against Atlanta, but maybe this week he gets like 8 snaps.
A couple, right? Just see what happens.
Just let him get out there. I mean, he's got the safety instincts. I'm assuming he can probably set an edge better than Bryce Huff, who apparently doesn't know how to set an edge at all.
Yeah.
So those are some ideas, some things to try. I do believe we're not going to see the same old from Vic this week.
Yeah,
I
certainly hope not.
We're not. He was still trying different things in game last week. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I'd anticipate, and I'm also not counting out the fact that how he's going to try and bring it back, which would be if they're 2-2 at the bye, it wouldn't shock me if he comes back. All right, and then the positive, negative, Jalen Hurts. The positive being, I think he played a really good. I really do. I think people need to get out of their heads that Jalen Hurts lost his athleticism and isn't the same guy. Jalen Hurts was never good running east and west. Ever.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
He never runs well east to west. But when he gets north-south, you're not tackling him. And he showed that this week.
Mm-hmm.
He was explosive. He was powerful. He was fast. I feel good about Jalen athletic.
Yeah.
He also, again, and they sent some zero blitz, reacted to the blitz really well.
Yeah.
He's already improved there. They did enough to win without A.J. Brown. Plain and simple. So I love that. Here's the negative. That last throw was unacceptable.
Yeah.
And he said it this week. He said he needs to, in those moments, understand that he's got he can play for another down. 27 seconds left, Jalen.
Right. With Jake Elliott. You're not out there with a scrub kicker.
2 things that he can't do there: throw an interception and take a sack.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of places to go. There was Covey across the field. He could have just thrown it at his feet. Barkley was just off the line, could have thrown it at his feet. I texted you after the game, but after watching the film, I don't know that I was right. The middle of the field was open, but he didn't really have a pocket to get through. So that was probably out of the question. Or he could have just rolled right or left, thrown it away.
Yeah.
But he can't force that ball down the field.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
You needed 15 yards.
Right.
That's it. 15 yards and you win the football game.
Mm-hmm.
So you live to play another down. Unfortunately, they didn't do that, and they ended up losing the game. But overall, he played a really good game. It's just not for Jalen to be the quarterback we all want him to be. He needs to be able to win that game.
Yeah.
If Patrick Mahomes has 36 seconds and 2 timeouts, they're winning the game.
Yeah. They're getting in field goal range.
As a matter of fact, they just did.
Yeah, right. We saw
They
it.
just did.
We saw it happen.
They just did it. I don't know that there are many more who do. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. But because some of that has to do with your kicker.
Yeah.
But the Eagles have the kicker that wins that game. If they get him to the 40-yard line,
Yeah.
they win the game.
Mm-hmm.
They win the game. So frustrating way to end it. Just throw it away. Even with Devontae coming downfield, you can throw
just
that
throw
ball
it out of bounds, right?
Clear out of bounds there. Like
Yeah.
it just, it's tough.
Yeah.
But, anything else on that game? Are we ready to just leave it in the dark?
No. Let's leave it alone and try and beat this stupid Saints team.
Okay, so the Saints. Whoa.
Yeah.
No one saw it coming.
Yeah.
They have scored on every possession that Derek Carr has played so far this year. And Alvin Kamara looks like the Alvin Kamara of like 5 years ago.
I said, 4 or 5 years ago.
He is born again. The defense is tough. They got some dudes on that defense,
especially in the secondary.
Yeah. Now Lattimore, I think, is still hurt. So that's a positive for the Eagles. If he can't play, he's got hamstring stuff going on. And it looks like AJ's not playing again.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Olave.
Because he can fly. Olave is a really, really, really well versed route runner. So it's not going to be, and New Orleans is a tough place to play. It's loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's loud. I was hoping, I was thinking after the last time out that Atlanta took, I went over to the bathroom. I was like thinking to myself, all right, get the first down. We're 2-0 and we can afford to lose one of these next 2 games. All is well. And now you got to make sure you win one.
Yeah.
They are 2.5-point underdogs. It started at a 0.5 point. It's moved to 2.5. So it's definitely a New Orleans line in terms of the move. 49.5-point total. We're gonna try and switch the juju up a little bit. I'm gonna go first type.
Okay.
My key to the game is figuring out one of the 2 things. I don't care which one it is. You either figure out how to stop the run or you figure out how to get to the passer. I think if you figure out how to stop the run, you're going to get to the passer. Sacks come in bunches. So I feel like they're pressing a little bit. They hear what's going on in the media. They know what fans are talking about. One of those things has to happen. One of them has to happen. That being said, I think they lose the game 28-21.
Yeah, I think my key is the run game for the Eagles. Can you just pound the ball down their throat and keep that offense off the field as much as possible? That would be my hope. Like, that's how you try and win this game. You just give that offense as few possessions as possible.
Yeah.
So I think they still lose the game. I think it's going to be like 27-21.
Okay. So we have very similar scores. We both think they're going to lose. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You don't typically listen to our podcast and hear us both pick against
Yeah, right.
The Eagles, but we've made it, right? We've made it. The Diamondbacks did win.
They did.
So the Phillies did not lose anything in the home field advantage pinpoint. It's good. All right, I got some things to say about Nick Sirianni. So I've said to you so many times, I've said to a lot of people who listen to our show, and if you don't know me personally, you've heard me say it on the show or in some way, shape, or form. If I'm talking about the manager or the coach, something's wrong. I shouldn't have to talk about you as much as I have to talk about Nick Sirianni. This is getting ridiculous. If you want to run around on the sidelines and stick your tongue out and act like you're one of the guys, then freaking be one of the guys. Be the dude. Pick an identity. Pick a lane and be the guy. I don't want a head coach who in the first series of the game goes for it on 4th down, but then in the most important series of the game kicks a field goal and says, well, my chart said that was the right decision. Nick, clearly not. This guy has had the offense taken away from him. He's not involved in the defense. He didn't really get to choose his own quarters. His only task is to not piss anyone off and be able to manage the game. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does. He wants to he wants to stay on the sideline and decline. Regz, I'm sitting on my couch saying decline the penalty. This guy's getting paid. Like everybody in the stadium is saying decline the penalty. You're not some like freaking savant that knew better than everybody. You're not. Like, to make the decision at the end of the game that you weren't going for 4th down, handcuffing your offensive is a joke. And you want to say after the game that you can overrule, then you should have overruled them. Because you shouldn't have. Actually, it's the right play call. I take that. You shouldn't overrule. But you should have said we're going for it on 4th down because that's who we are. He did this in the Super Bowl, Rex. 4th and 2 from like their own 48. If they get the first down, they're going to win the Super Bowl. And he punts it to Patrick freaking Mahomes and Andy Reid. He is not who he says he is. He wants to be this ballsy in your face head coach, and he's not. He's a coward and a fraud. He's a coward and a fraud. And I'm sick and tired of looking at him act on the sideline. Like he's like nothing about him is wrong. Like I don't even look at the guy. A lot of times you'll hear me say, he's probably a really good guy. I don't even look at the guy and think that. I don't know what redeeming qualities Nick Sirianni has because they don't stick out as a head coach. Like they simply do not stick out as a head coach. It's time after time this guy makes decisions that make no sense. He doesn't make sense. They won't win a Super Bowl with a guy who can't decide who he wants to be as a head coach. Like, they won't. Because he doesn't know who he is. As a game manager, he does not have an identity. One more thing. If your play call coming out of a timeout is to try and draw a team offside, what are we doing? Like, you have Saquon freaking Barkley. That's your play call. What is happening? Regz, if they're 1-3 at the bye, I think he's gone. I don't see how you keep him. Now, look, the 1-3 it could look very differently. But this loss, I told you, Saquon got 5% of my blame. Jalen gets 5% for that last possession. Okay? I give 15% to the defensive line and defense, I guess, as a whole. I'm really just going to say line for not getting any pressure on a hobbled Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins can't move.
Yeah.
But 75% of this, to me, is on Nick Sirianni. For not finding a lane and picking that lane and being that guy. And for not having the balls at the end of the game to go for it on fourth down. Say what you want about Doug Peterson. You agree, you didn't agree, but you knew what you were getting. We have no idea what we're getting from Nick Sirianni. Not even week to week, quarter to quarter. And if we don't know, I can tell you right now, as players don't. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Figure it out. Because I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of him mocking the fans. I'm sick and tired of other teams. I'm sick and tired of him running on the sideline, sticking his tongue out with CJ, GJ. Like, coach the game and do the one thing you're being asked to do. Do it right. Because this loss is on you. It's on you. Plain and simple. Yes, there were other parts. But if you do your job at the end of the game, you win the game. It's that simple. That's it.
Yeah, I got nothing else, buddy.
All right. Let me eat this pretzel real quick. Because I deserve it.
A well done rant.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Listen, everyone. Regz and I both didn't pick the Eagles, which means they're going to win.
I really hope so. That'd be great.
Which means we're going to pick against them the rest of the year.
Yeah, sounds good.
Every game.
Listen, we are nothing if not dedicated.
That's right. All right. So we will be back on Thursday. Actually, Regz, we won't be. We'll have to talk. I'm driving to Notre Dame on Thursday.
Oh,
we
okay.
We might have to do a different night this week. We'll be back at some point. We'll probably sync it up to when the Phillies can clinch too. That might end up being our.
That's true. We'll probably record something after that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. We'll let you know. We'll keep you posted.
Yep.
If you want to know, here's what you do. Subscribe to the YouTube on the box below. And then go and wherever you get your podcasts, follow, rate, unfollow, follow again, rate again. And then go to wherever you like your social media updates. If that's on Twitter, Phixated Pod, I pretty much live tweet all the Eagles games. I'm probably going to do the whole postseason for the Phillies on there. At the Mic Drop 5, at Big Regz with a Z. And then head on over to Facebook, Phixated fan page. TikTok, at the Phixated Pod. Click the merchandise link in the show description below. We appreciate you listening. We really do. We love you guys. Sticking with us, sticking with our teams. At some point, we'll have a conversation about the Sixers arena. Not right now. Too much happening.
Yeah.
But enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully we get a playoff clinch tomorrow and a division clinch Saturday or Sunday. And then we'll see what happens on Sunday with the Eagles. Until we talk to you again, be good. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We love you. Phillies, just please
beat those stupid tool bag Mets, please.
Just 2 wins, and Birds, figure it out. Nick, stop being an idiot. See you guys.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there, and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.